Hello everyone. Let's get started with our next few verses in Bhagwad Gita. Just to recap, we took a break last week and to continue on where we dropped off, Arjuna was putting forth various arguments to Krishna, justifying why he doesn't want to take up arms against his own men, his own people. He could see right in front of his eyes his acharya, fathers, grandfathers, grandsons, friends, maternal uncles, when all of them are arrayed against him, he was not inclined to go into the battle with them, even if it means winning the kingdom of all three worlds. He was in fact prepared to drop all the weapons and go and stand in front of them, even if they are enemies are going to attack him. Would be better. He was prepared to give up his life than to kill his own people. The reason he pointed out to Krishna was that we will attract two great sins. We are doing two great sins by fighting against our own relatives and friends. The first sin, papam, that he mentioned was kulakshayam, to kill the family lineage. And the next sin that he mentioned was mitradroham, treachery of friendship. He doesn't want to involve himself in any of these sins. When talking about family lineage, that was where we dropped off, where he mentioned that it is very important not to destroy one's family lineage. Family, as we see today, is entirely different than how it was even within our own family. A few years ago, even 50, 60 years ago, we saw that we all had, potentially, we would have all had a huge family with paternal uncles, paternal aunts, grandfathers, great grandfathers, and a group host of relatives in a single family. That is how we all, our parents or grandparents would have all lived. Today we all became nuclear. We split from that bigger family tree and we have established our own family and living. But in those days, they were all just together. The advantage last time we saw was that tree that was established with that such a dense tree with so many relatives around. Every one of them will care for each other. If a child is going to be born in such a family, we saw that that child doesn't have to worry about education because one of the paternal uncles or grandfather or grandmother or anyone who is having the skill will be willing to offer help. Food, one of them will be taking care of the needs of that child. Security. A child that is born in such a family tree, we saw that doesn't have to be scared, worried, feared of, be frightened of anything because it will be well protected by the elders, siblings, and others around him or her, unlike the way that we all live today. And but Arjuna mentioned that by destroying that family tree, great destruction will happen to the entire family. By destroying the male members who are standing right in front of me, I'm going to create havoc in that, in many families, and that is going to have a rippling effect, cascading effect. That is what he is going to say in the next few shlokas. What will happen when we destroy family lineage? That is not just one action. That action will have dominoes effect. You would have seen that dominoes being placed next to each other, and just tip off one domino, and that will just make others fall down. That will what that's not that's precisely will happen when I destroy the family, the men that are right now standing in front of me. That was his argument. Now let's see the next shloka. Last week we saw a shloka, 40th verse or 41st verse, I think. Let's revisit that shloka once more to make sure that we get uh, the gist of it. Let me share my screen. Let me bring up. Okay. This was the shloka that we were looking at last week. Chapter 1, verse 40. Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharma sanatanaha dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmo bhibhavatyuta. Now, what he says is the first dominoes effect. Once a family tree, the family lineage is destroyed, he says in this shloka, the dharma practiced by that family will be destroyed. So that every family will have their own dharmic values, and those dharmic values will fall down, will be destroyed. Now, last week we saw that what those family values or dharmic principles are. Some of the examples, or one family might have a dharma that they will build free housing for poor people. Another family might have a dharma that they will feed the poor. Yet another family can have a dharma that they will give free education to children. And yet another family can have people working in the temples. They will uh, they will you know do garland. They will get flowers from their garden and give flowers to the deities in the temple, or sweep around the temple. All these actions, all this can potentially be a dharma of a family. And even modern days, right, we have seen many families that have pledged money for blind people. They will establish some hospitals. That hospitals will run treating poor patients for eye surgery or replacing, giving eye donations, all those ventures. Or people who are physically handicapped, they will establish an hospital to maintain that, and family will put in money to make sure that people get necessary support, health support, right? Those can be the dharma. What will happen, just imagine. Now Arjuna's argument is, if I just kill all the men over here, who were potentially involved in such dharmic activities will now be not able to participate in those charity work. And that means that many people will be deprived of getting benefited. And that is the reason, Krishna, I don't want to go on a war with these people. That would mean that will destroy the good activities that are happening around. It will have a social impact. And so I don't want to participate. Now, what we can learn from this, we already saw last week that every one of us, our family lineage that we all belong to, will definitely would have practiced a dharma or two. Our responsibility is to go back to our roots. We should ask our parents, parents, if they are alive, right, grandparents, to know about what have we been doing long time back as our dharma. Every family in those days would have practiced that. It's just that it's been lost. Now we should discover, we should go with a research mind to see what our family tree have been doing and pick that up and start doing it, right? If we couldn't identify that, let's say that for some reason or the other we couldn't arrive at any dharma that our family had been practicing, we can start one now ourselves. We know a lot of opportunities are available. Let me start one now. Not just start doing it, right? Either it can be physical service or financially helpful to others in whatever way that is possible, that is in our reach. We should do that. Not just that, we should pass it on to our next generation also, children. Educate them that this is the dharma that we all should practice, right? That is one thing that we learned last week. Now, why is it that it is so important and how they practiced in the past? Let me give you an example. In fact, last week I know I gave an example, story we saw last week about the monkey, how that monkey maintained that it is very important to maintain the values of the family, right? Now another example, another story in order to appreciate the value of the family dharma. Rama belonged to Ikshwaku dynasty. We know that Ikshwaku was the first ruler, and from then on many descendants, and then Dasharatha, and then Rama, right? That was the lineage. Now in that family tree there was one king called Shibi. You might have heard about King Shibi, the story of King Shibi, right? What was the dharma that was practiced by Rama's family tree? Let's understand that. Then that is a ideal example, right? Because we can all go back and then figure out our own. That is one action item that we all have. But if we know about Rama's dharma, family tree of Rama, that will be the ideal thing. Then we all can at least emulate that or try to practice that. Now, Sibi was a king, one of the ancestors of Rama. One day, this king was standing in the balcony of his palace. It was a huge balcony. One evening, he was standing in the balcony. A nice white small bird, a dove, flew in and sat on his shoulders, begging for help, asking for refuge. Please help me. I was being chased by a vulture. Shibi said that, do not worry. Now that you are in my arms, I will protect you no matter what. He gave an assurance. The bird was at peace. Now, immediately after a few seconds, the vulture flew in and it asked Shibi, I wanted that. That is my prey. Give it to me. Shibi said, I'm sorry. This bird already sought my refuge. And I'm not willing to share this bird with you. But that vulture asked Shibi that this is very strange. I know you're the king and you wanted to protect every human being or living being on this earth. But you are not protecting me. That is my food. And if you just say no, you won't give that food to me, I will be starving tonight. Not only me. There is my wife and my children who are waiting there. They all will starve. So please give it back to me. Now Shibi is in a catch 22 situation. He has to decide between this or that. Dharma Sankata. Dharma Sankata means this. We all will say that, it's a cliche. We use it quite too often in our dialogue. Oh, I was in a Dharma Sankata. Dharma Sankata, to truly understand the word, the meaning of that word is, there are two options, option 1 and option 2. Both the options are right. If you do this, that is correct. But you will hurt this side. So if you go this side, if you take option 1, then option 2 is also right, but you are not doing it. If you take option 2, option 1 is also right. So you're not doing it. So that is Dharma Sankata. Not like option 1 is good, option 1 is bad, or option 1 is good, I like it. Option 2 is, I don't like it. So that's not a Dharma Sankata. That's how we all use it, right? Now, King Shibi is in Dharma Sankata. Now, King Shibi is known very well among the kings to be the one who will honor his words. In fact, the entire Ikshwaku dynasty, all the way up to Rama, they always honored their words. Dasharatha, the reason that he died was he gave 2 boons to Kaikeyi. He died because he had to honor those 2 boons. He maintained the words still. Even though he died, he sent Rama to the forest. So their dynasty, the dharma that they practiced was never to go back on their words, never to break their promises. That was the dharma. If they say that I will help you, they will help, even if that means putting their own life at risk. That is how dharma should be practiced. That is what we learned from their history, right? So now, and King Shibi was also known for giving anything anyone asks, no matter what. He will never say, oh, I'm sorry, I cannot spare that. Ask anything else, I will spare. No. He is known for giving. If anyone asks him, just give the kingdom to me, he will not even just no second opinion, or are you really asking for the entire kingdom? No such thing. Have it. That is how Shibi was known for. Now this bird has asked for refuge. Dove has asked for refuge. He said, I will give. The bird, the vulture, is demanding that I wanted food. If you deny that bird to me, I will starve, which is against dharma. Now, Shibi tried to offer many other food to that vulture, but that vulture rejected everything. I wanted fresh meat. And left with no option, Shibi said, okay, I can give my flesh. Take my flesh and eat it. Okay, very well then, the vulture said. I will have your flesh. Now, the king, everyone around the king were shocked. What? Shivi is willing to give his own flesh? But he didn't hesitate. He said that bring a balance. Let's put the bird, dove on one side, and as heavy as that dove was, I will take out my flesh from my body and put it on it. Let's balance it and give it to that dove. Right? You don't want to give more than what the bird weighs. And so the balance was brought. Now Sippy started slicing off slowly flesh from his body and started putting on the other side of the balance to see when it balanced. Unfortunately for him, the more flesh he took from his body, the bird, dove, always stayed down. It never balanced. The more flesh he added here, it was always up. He couldn't. Everyone around King Shibi were crying, wailing, wife, princess, men around in the court. They were all worried. What will happen to this king? He is so nice. If he dies, what will happen to the kingdom? We will never ever be able to get such a great ruler like Shibi. They were all worried. But he was not even worried. He didn't even hesitate. He wanted to stick to that dharma. That is what in his mind. Praise or history will talk about me. Like we all normal humans will think about it. Okay, when I do all these things, history will talk. That will also be there. We might also be able to do. We will never do it. First thing. The moment the bird reached us, maybe we will just pet the bird. The moment we see the vulture, we will let it go. Take it, whatever you wanted to do. Right? That is how normal humans like us are. But Shibi is not normal human. Being an ancestor of Rama, how can he be normal? Right? So now he was willing to give. Since the balance was not reached, he decided to step into the balance himself. Let me give my whole body. As he stepped in, people literally cried. He stepped in, then the balance was reached, and in fact, a little bit above it. Then Shibi said, Vulture, I am your food. Accept me. I am ready to die. Then at that instant, the bird, dove became Agni Bhagavan, and the vulture was none other than Indra. So what we learn from this, there are many things that we learn from this, but key point is dharma that is being followed by Ikshwaku dynasty, and one such king was King Shibi. Even though we learned about the story many times, we haven't wondered that dharma part of it, right? That is what we all have to. It's just not story aspect of this is one, but what is that we should believe in? We should start looking around us as to what is that we stand for, right? Dharma. So that dharma will be lost. Now, if King Shibi was spared because if he lives, dharma will live. That is what Arjuna is now trying to say. That if I spare these men in front of me, whatever the dharma that they are doing already will live in this world. But instead, if I take their life, then those dharma will also go away. That is why I don't want to kill these men. Now, next thing he puts forth an argument that, oh Krishna, dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmo bhavatyuta. What happens when dharma dies? Dharma is dead, then obviously adharma will take over. There are actually two things. What is the big thing? Dharma is not there, adharma will come. That is quite it's not obvious. Even within us, good thing is there. There are people with good heart, right? Helping others, donate, charity, noble, all those things. Now, you may or may not have it, right? The ability to help others or being nice, good, but you can be a person who will not have the bad qualities either, right? So whether we have good things or not is later, but we should not have any adharmic, principles in our mind, which is harmful to us and will ruin the society also, right? That is how these murderers or the kidnappers or the drug dealers, the children traffickers, they all have the adharmic mind in there. We all probably, we don't have such adharmic mind, but we neither have good, may or may not have good. I'm not saying we are not having it, but having the good heart is one that can happen eventually, slowly, as a process. We all can build it, but whether that happens or not, bad should not be there first, so that it has to be neutral at least, right? That is what now Arjuna is saying, that if goodness goes away, then naturally adharma will occupy in everyone's mind, right? The empty mind is devil's workshop. That is precisely it, right? That is the reason that people always advise us that involve in good actions, good activities, because if good actions, good activities cease in our mind, it's not like it will be neutral. Bad actions will occupy our mind. Now, that is the reason that either involve in bhajans, say shlokas, Vishnu Sahasranama, or listen to Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana. We don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. But then, if I don't have to do anything, if everything stays good, we don't have to do anything. But then, if it is neutral state, not doing anything, bad things will start occupying. Adharma will start occupying our mind. That is the reason, keep involved in the good things, so that even bad things, adharma will prop up here and there. That will be discarded if our mind is filled with dharmic principles. That is what he says here. Dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmo abhibhavatyuta. A lot of adharma will occupy the world. In this case, he's saying the society will be occupied with, filled with adharma. Now let's move on to the next sloka. What happens if adharma fills the earth? That is the next argument, he says. Adharma abhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyaha strishu dushtasu varshneya jayate varnasankaraha. Now, adharma abhibhavat. What happens if adharma occupies the society? All the warriors who are standing here are destroyed, and so all the dharmic activities are gone. All the dharmic activities are gone, adharma will occupy. Adharma occupies, then the most important verse, I would say, if you want to remember one thing, the most important verse, women will be at risk. Women will be exploited. Women will be victimized. Women will be exposed, and women will be spoiled. Our Shastras, our Vedas have given supreme importance to women. Most of the times, many forward-looking girls and women these age will ask like, "Oh, our Shastra doesn't even give anything importance to women." They always say that men should do all the pujas, rituals. For women, there is nothing. Many people argue. I'm not saying people in this group argue, but there are people that I hear myself that they are arguing that we are not asked to do anything, so only importance to men. Nothing of that sort. Or right here, Arjuna says that women will be, the adharma takes over, women will be exploited. So what does that mean? Women are the guardians of dharma. That is what indirectly is being implicit here, right? Women are the one who maintain dharma, and who, actually, especially at home, if adharma occupies, then they will be exploited, they will be exposed, and they will eventually be spoiled by the society. And once Strishu Dushtasu Varshneya, Varshneya is Krishna, is addressing Krishna as Varshneya. Strishu Dushtashu. If women are exploited and exposed and turn away from the righteousness, then Jayate Varna Sankaraha. Then it leads to illegitimate relationships. Virtue, wherever our Shastra says that wherever women in society are respected, that society, that family, that nation will flourish. On the other hand, wherever women are degraded, insulted, humiliated, treated incorrectly, that society, that family, that nation will go down. That is precisely Shastra is clear about it. That it doesn't leave any scope for ambiguity at all. Precisely, it puts it. Now, we all know that, the reason is that now Arjuna is speaking up. He didn't say that when adharma is gone, men will be spoiled. He didn't say that. He says that women will be exposed and exploited and victimized, and they will eventually be leading to destruction, right? A virtuous woman is the spine of any good family. And a man is spoiled, let us say. He's going his own, he's straying away from the path of righteousness. Only he is spoiled. It is just one person being spoiled. But if a woman is exposed, exploited, and she strays away from the path of righteousness, the entire family is spoiled. And the family that they bring on is spoiled. That is the reason, because men, only one person is affected, the entire women. Now, women, we all know these days that they are the ones who are able to manage the family, bring them all together, and make sure that everything goes in the right path. And men also do it, but men are mostly breadwinners. Even women are breadwinners these days. I'm not denying that, but women are additionally taking the burden of winning the bread, meaning earning income. Other than that, they also have the responsibility of making sure that waking up in the morning and doing some puja, doing the cooking work, making sure that the food is put on that table for everyone in the family, and tracking homework, school activities, school enrollments, class enrollments, dropping off in the class, picking up from the class, any deadlines, due dates, health, medical checkups, all right? Everything is being maintained now. Most of the families is being kept track of by women. Men do it here and there, I'm not denying that, but predominantly. Other than that, financial management, men will be able to go and then bring in money, but what money goes out, what money goes in, whether this expense is needed or not, where we should give money to others who are in need, that kind of motherly instinct, oh, that all those people will have to give some money and help. Charity, men do not have that much, right? Women are the one who have to say that we need to give some charity work, right? Such kind of things, women are the ones who will have to bring it, and all those work she does it. Additionally, office work also these days. And when when a man returns home, he is being welcomed with a smile by the wife of the house. That is also additionally, right? Now, that is the reason that if family, a woman is going to stray away from the path of virtuousness, then that can be total destruction. And that can happen when adharma occupies, fills the society. That is the argument that Arjuna is putting forth here. right? Now, even I have had this experience many times. We all, a husband will say that, yeah, you'll have to go to your mother's house. Yeah, go ahead. I'll take care of children. And then we will just start off. And the wife will ask 2, 3 times, are you sure you will be able to take care of the kids and also yourself? You'll say that, no, don't worry at all. Go away. Go, just, relax. But after 1 or 2 days, reality strikes, right? We need to cook, we need to take care. Kids will be running towards the dad, asking for this, that. We will be like, after 2 days, our hair will just be spiking in all directions. I mean, wife, after 2 days, she calls, will be like, when are you coming? First question is that, right? So men, we won't be able to manage the family. We know that that is one. And I'm not saying that that is happening today. It happened long time ago during Ramayana days itself, and even Rama was not able to stay. That was mentioned none other than Vali himself. Rama hid himself behind the tree when Vali and Sugriva was going on a war with each other, and Rama made sure that he spotted Vali and shoot an arrow shot an arrow on Wali from behind. Wali was hurt, and Wali was hurt not physically but mentally also. He asked Rama that, how can you do this, Rama? You are Ikshwaku, you are family lineage. None of the kings will ever do this act of hiding behind the tree and then hurting me. How can you do it? And then ultimately, Wali himself, after Rama answered the question, Wali himself accepted that what you did is right. That we will learn later. But then at that time he said that you have done this kind of thing, Rama. You know why you did this? Let me explain you. Wali says to Rama, why Rama did such a kind of incorrect act. Wali says that you have probably done this kind of hiding behind a tree and shooting an arrow on me. You know why? Because you lost your sweet wife. Your wife is far away in Sri Lanka, and that is why your mind is gone mad. And you are doing the things that you yourself don't realize what you are doing. And you go behind and hurt somebody. Is that a right thing? Wali. So that is an example that even Wali is mentioning that Rama lost his mind because his wife was away from him. Such was the power of woman. Ultimately, end of the day, giving birth, that power only woman holds. No matter what, man can never have it, right? So such was the epitome of the respect that our Shastras have for women. So anyone in society says that our Hindu society doesn't give respect to women, and that are all not right. We should read the right scripture, right shlokas, then we will understand the meaning of it. So now this been importance is given to strees here. Stree should be preserved. That is why I am not going to go on a war, is what his argument is, Arjuna's argument is. Now, one more word he says is, if that happens, if women are exposed, if women are victimized, then the adharma occupies and women are totally exposed. They don't have any where to go. That is when external elements they will be overwhelmed by other societies from nearby neighborhood, wherever, whatever that is. And that leads to illegitimate relationships or unnecessary, unneeded progeny. Progeny is unneeded birth, right? So that is what Varna Sankaraha means. It will all become a mix up of things that is not going to be really good for the society. That will lead to social degradation. That is what he says here. See, when we also do something, right? We do some charity work or do any action. What we need to learn from Arjuna here is see how he is looking farther and farther and farther and farther, 4 steps, 5 steps ahead, and then decide whether to do a thing or not, right? Not like just, okay, let me go on a war. That's how many people are standing in that war. Now, Arjuna is not doing such a thing. Now, let's move on to the next sloka. Sankaro Sankaro Narakayaiva Kulaghnanam Kulasya cha Patanti Pitaro Kyesham Luptapindo Takakriyaha. So Sankaro Narakayaiva, those unwanted progeny. Sankaro is that unwanted progeny or unwanted children that are born. They are hellish. It's going to be a life is going to be hellish for Kulagnanam. Kulagnanam means the people who tried to kill, and also people who are hurt, right? That the family that was impacted, all of them, the life becomes hell. Naraka, even Naraka, right? Naraka. That is why I don't want to go on this war. Patanti pitaro hesham lupta pindo takakriyaha. So what this in this last line, second half of the sloka means is, if such a confusion of illegitimate relationships and illegitimate children born, and that propagates, right, that lineage, that family tree propagates, and that leads to the children not doing their rites. Rites meaning the monthly rituals that have to be done, the annual rituals that have to be done, the periodic rituals that have to be done for the ancestors. So patanti pitaro, patanti, fall down. Who will fall down? Pitaraha. Pitaro means ancestors. Ancestors will fall down. Hesham lupta pindo takakriyaha. Lupta, in the absence of Pindakriya, Udakakriya. That's why Pindo Dakakriya. Pindakriya, Pinda, the rice balls, right? Udakakriya, water. So if in the absence of no one being able to offer Pinda and water to our ancestors, they will all fall down. That's what you hear Arjuna is saying. Now, because of that, if I destroy everyone, the family tree, the family people, the children will not, because of the mix of everything, they don't know who is ancestor, what is ancestor, so they won't be able to offer, and no one is there to protect, advise, because all the elders are gone in the war. There is no one to advise, to say that what is good, what is not. Obviously adharma is going to be there, because elders are all gone. People who are educated and who are in a position to give advice are all dead. So now they are all exposed, and now they give rise to new generation of illegitimate children. Those children will not even be able to offer any rituals. Because of that, the ancestors will fall down. Now, our Shastra tells clearly that, based on Arjuna's statement here, that one has to perform, no matter, irrespective of caste or creed or anything, they should perform the rituals for dead parents and ancestors. They are very clear about it in whatever way. Like, for example, in uh, in one's family lineage, offering rituals can be something like call 200 poor people and give food to them. That can be a ritual, right? Ritual need not be reciting mantras and then offering that. It can be any form that is being practiced in our own family for offering such uh, rituals for ancestors. Now, one thing is that one question that we all might ask is, this is, latest age, and this is an advanced age where we are able to reach Mars and everywhere and beyond. And what is the big deal about this sending food to ancestors? Is it really true? Is not something like a superstition that we all do, right? What is it about, right? Now, that there are many superstitions. I'm not denying that. But there are few things that when Shastra says, Vedas say, that cannot be a superstition. Now, one thing is maintaining these rituals. We don't have to think that offering this kind of rituals, doing this kind of rituals will reach them indirectly. We don't know about that such things. We don't have insight into going and, but Shastra says that do this, that is good for you. That is the only relationship. Our relationship is between myself and the Shastra. I cannot ask that show me the proof. And Shastra cannot show that, see that ancestor sitting there, that and all is not Shastra, right? Now, what is that I should do? I have to do it. And the Shastra is, will, what it will do is, it is all some kind of an experiment, a test for me. Are you disciplined enough to follow some basic courtesies for your ancestor? You have descended, you took birth because your parents and grandparents and grandparents. How do you have that simple courtesy of reflecting on it and returning back the favor, right? That discipline is there, that is just enough. And how do we show that? And if we do that, there will be indirect benefits, right? We cannot say that, okay, we did this, because of that my family is happy, peaceful, healthy. I cannot say that, but that will be there, that benefit will be there, hidden. That is a hidden message. If it is proved that Shastra says do this annual rituals to your ancestors, then you will be healthy, and it is being proved, then everyone will start doing it. That is not what Shastra wants. You should understand, and everyone will start doing it out of fear. Oh, otherwise I will be hurt. That is not the discipline that Shastra expects. I trust totally, because God's relationship with our relationship with God is totally based out of trust, like any other. For example, friendship is based on trust, right? I trust you, you trust me. I openly say everything to you, you openly tell everything to me. I understand you, you understand me. That is the trust, right? And there is no proof for that. No one will ask that how much you trust. It is 80% trust, and that such kind of questions are meaningless. Now, our relationship with God also is same thing with the trust, and that trust never asks for proof, right? And for me to be well, that is how my ancestors have advised. Okay, the great sages, rishis, ancestors have always asked, passed on the good things, the good rituals, so that we all can live happily, and our generations, our family lineage will grow well, right? Healthy, happy, intelligent, and prosperous. For all those things to happen, we will have to do few things that Shastra expects us to do. It doesn't have to be like, learn all Vedas. Vedas will not say that. Vedas himself will say that you cannot learn me. Not everyone can learn me. Only few people will have to learn, few people will have to recite. But there are simple things that are always there that we all can do. That is what now he is being mentioned here, that if such people are dead, then they won't be able to do Pinda Kriya and Udaka Kriya. And that will lead to, let's see the next sloka. Doshair etaihi kulagnanam varna sankara karakaihi utsadhyante jati dharmaha kuladharmascha shashvataha. Doshaihi is this kind of fault, this kind of papam. Ethaihi kulagnanam. The etaihi is these faults. Kulagnanam is the people who do the killing, who did the killing of the others. Kulagna, the faulty deeds done by those who took the lives. Varna Sankara Karakaihi, causing illegitimate relationship, resulting in illegitimate relationships. Udzhadyante jati dharma. Because of that, jati dharma is also destroyed, and Kula dharma also is destroyed. Now, jati dharma and kula dharma. Jati, what is that jati dharma? Here, are we speaking about caste to some extent, but not necessarily the caste that we know of. Here, what he says is, if uh, if I destroy people who are standing in front of me, then jati dharma will also be destroyed. Jati dharma can be something like, for example, Brahmanas. They are supposed to perform some activities, right? These are all professions, if you can think of it. Vaishyas, they are supposed to perform some actions. They are nothing to do with the, uh, the thing about caste is caste is bad only when we say that one caste is higher, one caste is lower. But differentiation is always okay. We can always differentiate that few group of people will work on education. Now, even we have this, right? Educationists, academicians, and then there are few people who are called navy, defense, and few people who are called politicians. Few people are called businessmen. Right now, we have that in society. This is precisely what Krishna also proposed long time ago. 4 divisions of society is what he proposed, and later on people interpreted it in multiple ways and made it to be one caste is good, one caste is bad. No, can anyone say that businessman is better than politician, or politician is better than I'm not talking about the politician in the term that we all know of, but generally statesmen, right? Let's call it that way. Or administrators or people who work as professors and lecturers, they are better than businessmen. Nobody can say that. Everyone is essential for the functioning of the society, right? If there are no universities, if there are no professors, then that society cannot prosper. If there are no business people who can do business, right, it cannot prosper. So Vaisya is business people. Brahmanas are academicians. In those days, that is how it has been divided. Even now, today, Brahmana is never by birth. Vaishnava janato tene kahiyere. We know last week we saw the meaning of it, right? A true Vaishnava is one who sympathetic towards others' needs. Right? That is what we saw. Now, anyone can be a Brahmana, a Vaishnava, who wants to offer or help. Now, in those days, academicians are Brahmanas. Anyone who is interested in doing business, they are called Vaisyas. Anyone who has a strong, well-built body and who wants to protect are called Kshatriyas. Because you needed protection from enemies, right? And you needed food to eat. That is why business people, Vaisyas, were there. And you needed the society to be intelligent. That's why Brahmanas were there, whose responsibility is to educate all people, not only Brahmanas. A Brahmana is supposed to educate people in the society, irrespective of caste or creed. That is his responsibility. A Kshatriya is to protect all people, not his own caste. Brahmana, Vaisya, Shudra, everyone he has to protect. Right? So there is the differentiation is intended. Differentiation has to be there. Even today it is there. Differentiation should be there. But discrimination is not right. Discriminating between one caste to other caste is not correct. Now, these fingers are there, right? Each one has got their own job, right? I cannot say that one is better than the other. All 5 are needed for my hand to perform. Now, in this one, the moment I say that this finger is the best, they are lesser importance than this, that is when problem starts, right? The caste that unfortunately being propagated anywhere else is because of the discrimination. Now, here he says that Jati Dharma will go away. For example, Kshatriya will forget his responsibility, occupational responsibility of protecting people, because of all the mix that had happened, illegitimate relationship had happened, illegitimate children have gone. There will be a mix-up of responsibilities. People will not know what they should do. Should I protect or should I preach? Should I do business or should I? Such kind of professional mix-ups will all happen. That is what is saying, that will be destroyed. Jati dharma Udsadyante jati dharma. So with that, we have reached 43rd verse, and I'm going to stop here, and we will continue rest of the verses, and most likely next session we will be completing our first chapter and get on to the, I'm interested in the first sloka that Krishna starts off the week after. But the next week is also very important, where he's wrapping up his argument, putting forth a few more points, and Sanjaya is also going to say one or two words of wisdom. We will see that next week what that is. Until then, have a good time, and I'll see you all next week. Mangala purokamaihi sarvaischa purvairacharyai satkritaya stu mangalam. Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu.